All right, guys. I'm live with something real now. Okay, this video we're about to look at, react to, or have a response to is by a YouTube creator by the name of Wow Heart Waves. The reason why I picked his video is because he goes over many different relationships of successful black men who dated white women, and we're gonna listen to what he has to say, and I'm going to give a little bit of feedback along the way, and then I'm going to give some feedback myself because this is not the first time this has happened, guys. We've seen black athletes dating white women for years. I mean, you got God bless the dead, Nicole Simpson, OJ Simpson, um, um, who else dated? Somebody else dated a white woman. Not coming to me, but successful black men and white women. That's been something we've been seeing for years. Believe it or not, I believe Sidney Poitier. Let me see. I believe Sidney Poitier's wife was white. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Sidney Poitier's wife was white. Yeah. Let me see where my camera is so I can show you guys. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. I don't know if I had to show that or not, but yeah, Sidney Poitier's wife was even white. Now, what even bugs out people a lot more is that when you have, black activists or black men who say they despise white people and then they date the white people they say they despise. You even have black women who say they despise black men, white people, and they date, excuse me, white men. So what actually is going on if these people are not liking white people, but they're dating them? And why are they picking white women over black women? Now, I want to see what this guy has to say before I add my own intake. So we're going to go ahead and watch what he has to say. Hold on for a minute, guys. I want to see, trying to get the live, see if anybody has came into the room yet. There we go. Yeah. So let's get started on this one, guys. Yeah, buddy. Let's find out what's about to happen here.
The economic treason that takes place whenever a black man, especially an educated black man, an economically comfortable black man, decides to.
Before I go any further, I'm gonna leave a link to this original video and a link to this gentleman's channel, so you guys make sure that you go check it out.
Abandon the black woman for a woman. He takes with him not only his heart, but he takes his savings, he takes his education, he takes his financial opportunities, he takes his checkbook with him. Let us be honest that marriage at its very foundation is a financial relationship. Anyone who doesn't believe that only need go to divorce court and see how many people are arguing over the love that they gave the other person during the marriage. In divorce court, love is never a focus. You're focusing on assets, your own savings, you're focusing on retirement. And the black woman and the black community loses out on all of that whenever a black man decides to seek a white woman's.
I believe she's actually mixed. Or is she? I don't know. She looks like she might be mixed.
Hand in marriage. You're taking from a people who don't have enough and you're taking it to another people who have already stolen so much. And what makes it even more insulting is the opportunities that put you in that economic position to be able to get married and take care of a family came from Black people who died, who suffered, who struggled, who sacrificed for us to be in this position today. And for me to take my education and my income over to the white woman when there's so many Black women who need it cannot be interpreted as anything other than economic betrayal.
Hi, everyone. So we're back for another video. And let me preface this because I know how the internet thing works. I know how this works. And I want to make sure my words are clear. Date who you want to date. Love who you want to love. Do what you want to do.
Oh, okay. So this channel is a lady's channel. Excuse me. So go over there and support her channel. I said his channel. So I guess we're getting active now.
Who you decide to date, love, marry is ultimately your decision. And to save you from tussling with yourself about this video and projecting, okay, because we're still going to get into these topics anyway, please let's not try to misinterpret what is being said. Now, I had to stop regular scheduled programming because I watched the 2024 NFL draft this week. And I've been wanting to do this topic for a while, but after seeing this year's draft, this needed to be bumped up the docket for sure for the gems to get out. And I'm going to get straight to the point. In case I touched on briefly, there is a significant wealth gap between Black and white communities. And I don't need to tell you the origin of this. We all know it.
I meant to, let me go back to that. Let me let y'all look at them stats again.
And I'm going to get straight to the point. And Kate, I touched on some of this briefly. There is a significant wealth gap between.
Okay, that's from 2019. As you see, this starts here and that goes like 150, and then this is like, that's topped off at 150, and then you see this thing drop. It dips here and it goes up here. So right here it was higher. Black wealth was higher, it's saying. And then you look up as the incline, because a lot of people you don't want to put stats like a lot of people know what they're looking at. And then you see here there's an incline, and then right here is at 200, and then it never went up for Blacks. That wealth never went up for Blacks. And then it took a dip again around 2010, and it was even. It showed right here to show you it's even right here, and then it takes an incline again, and then there's another another incline towards 2019. Now we can't see 2024, so we don't actually know if it declined again or if it was an incline.
Between Black and white communities. And I don't need to tell you the origin of this. We all know it. However, what we just witnessed in this year's NFL draft, as every year, is no surprise, but very telling. So many rookies are often called by team owners and coaches to announce that they have been officially picked. And what makes these calls so special is because these players are able to share in this televised moment with their parents, closest friends, girlfriends, and family members. And for the last few years, because these calls have been televised, a spotlight has been placed on a recurrent theme of many of these players being with white women.
So who decided on the outfit?
I did. She has on a lovely, shout out to Chrome Heart for both of our suits.
Thank you.
Lori and Rich. But yeah, she has on a Chrome Hearts dress. Jeez. And it looks like a couple accessories on her wrist, and some nice heels. And then I'm also Chrome Heart, and I went silver to match, and we all kind of match in those ways as little accents. But yeah, I went navy blue with silver, and yeah, looks great. I had the idea in my mind of what I wanted, Then I put the idea and Lori, and there's mine, and they came.
I don't know if this lady is gonna show the video of the guy that was on TikTok or Instagram who explained why a lot of D1 players will date white women over black women. I want to see if she plays it. If not, I'm going to actually play that video for you guys so you can see why this guy is saying that a lot of those D1 players are picking white women over black women. But I want to see if she plays it. If not, I'll play it.
Out with this, and then I let my mom do her thing.
This year's #1 pick for the first round, Caleb Saquon Williams and his family were invited to Detroit for him to officially accept his role as the newest player to join the Chicago Bears. The 2022 Heisman Trophy winner and former Southern California quarterback was one of the top earners in college football thanks to NIL deals from companies such as Dr. Pepper, Wendy's, Beats by Dre, and PlayStation. Those deals resulted in Caleb earning around $10 million during his time with the Trojans before he even played his first NFL game. Already $10 million up, and as a part of his contract with the Chicago Bears, he will receive a $25 million signing bonus and an additional $38 million over the next 4 years with a 5th-year team option. The #1 draft pick, Caleb Williams, a 22-year-old Black man born in Washington, D.C., to a Black mother and Black father in a city which ranks #4 of the largest population of Black folks in the United States, a city of Black women of all complexions, sizes, backgrounds, and classes, attended the NFL draft with his Danish girlfriend, Alina Thurgood. And if this was an isolated incident, we wouldn't even have had this conversation. However, Black men have been doing this since racial barriers were lifted from professional sports. The majority of people have always stayed in close community with one another due to redlining. In the early 1930s, the federal government.
The House Owners Loan Corporation map of Cleveland Metropolitan District and Chickasaw County, I think, copyrighted by Commercial Survey Company.
Created red.
I don't know where she's going with this, but I'm trying to figure out where she's going with this. Like, how is this relevant to what we are looking at? But I'm gonna continue to listen to what she's talking about. I don't know how this is relevant to the conversation.
Redlining maps for almost every major city in response to the housing shortage. Redlining was primarily designed to provide housing to middle and upper class white families. African Americans and other people of color were left out of the new suburban communities and instead pushed into urban housing projects. And the justification was that if Blacks bought homes in these suburbs, the property value of the homes would drastically decline. No one would want to move into these communities. Therefore, these home loans would be at risk, which is why the majority of housing projects in major cities are almost always grouped in close proximity to one another and near their respective downtown. Black families had two options. #1, housing project, or #2, if you had enough money, you could buy a home. But as soon as these same men touch success, touch notoriety, touch wealth, whether that's an engineer at Google making $350,000 a year or an NFL player signing his rookie contract for $38 million. And as much as they try to push this rhetoric that Black women are gold diggers and that they only want men once they achieve success, show me a collective of white women who are staying down in the paint. These urban bunny work searching for carrots just like anyone else, literally and figuratively. They are not volunteering.
Yeah, basically what she just did there was a lot of successful Black guys who are dating Black women. They've been with those Black women through thick and thin. Snoop Dogg and his wife has been together since they was teenagers. Ice Cube and his wife has been together since they were teenagers. LL Cool J and his wife has been together since they was teenagers. Jadakiss, I think Jadakiss and his I think he's married. Don't quote that. But they've been together since they were kids. Styles P and his wife has been together since they were kids. Yeah, most black guys that you look at, even Steph Curry and Aisha Curry have been together for the longest. LeBron James and his wife has been together for the longest. So most of the black guys that are with these black women, people would say they are black athletes that are with black women, but these black women were there from the start. That's basically what they're saying. And the white women that are popping up, they just popping up out of nowhere. Like they just started dating these women. That's basically what she's saying. So it's almost as if these women see the success in these men. They see where these men are going, and they jump on their coattail to ride the success with these men because they see that they're successful men. They would have never dealt with these men if they were not successful. And that's a point. Because if these men were not successful, would these same white women still deal with them?
Volunteering for Struggle Love on Slauson Avenue in LA, the Pork and Bean Projects in Miami, Bankhead in Atlanta, Georgia, Jonesville, and please show me the droves of suburban white women that cannot wait to settle down with Dusties or live a comfortable life with an average black man. Come get these Dusties too. You know, don't leave them behind. Round them up as well. Round up the Dusties that society says black women should settle for and help us out on that end. We would love for y'all to be the cleanup women within the red line, not just with our talented 10. You see, the high grossing.
Yeah, that's not going to happen because, again, I'm going to explain why that's going to happen. And I'm going to help y'all understand something about cultures. This is what a lot of people don't understand about cultures, and a lot of people don't look at that. And I'm going to have to say it because, again, don't try to blame me, bash me, come at me, left, or anything like that. But I'm going to have to help y'all understand something. In our culture, the black culture, right? We're not built up by our parents, and we're not taught how to take care of families and how to help our household grow and how to look for a successful partner out in the world. We're not taught that. We don't get that book. You understand what I'm saying? So because we're not taught that, a lot of our contemporaries, they learn about relationships from other children, or they learn about relationships on their own. And most of what is talked about in the black community about relationships is to take advantage of people. You're calling the women thoughts and hoes. You're calling the dudes dogs and pimps. So when we create these labels for ourselves, you understand, other cultures look at us as those labels. So these black men that are dating these white women are less likely to look at the women that have been labeled as hoes and has been labeled as 304s and not date them, even though there's 304s in every race. There's hoes in every race. There's, prostitutes of every race, but it's what race is being promoted as the dominant race of failure. And because this is being promoted as women, black women are the ones to not allow to go on with you because they're more likely to drag you down. These white women are more liable to lift you up, pick you up, and be there for you. That's what you're going to get. Now, also, on the half of these white women who won't take a Tyrone from the ghetto who's not doing anything for himself, right? They are not raised to look at someone who is on a path of destruction. They are raised to attach themselves to someone who would provide a great living for them. And they are willing to play along and go along because they have been raised that way. This has to do with cultural differences. That's the only thing it has to do with. Who is teaching their children the correct way of being in a relationship and dealing with someone in a relationship and being in that relationship to do what you have to do in that relationship. For years or decades or whatever, we have seen black women putting men down. We have seen black men putting black women down. And the other cultures are seeing this. So they're less likely to date someone who's going to put them down and more likely to date someone who seems to lift them up. Now, it doesn't mean every white woman or every white man is an angel, because they're not. It just means that the thought process of the people thinking that these people are angels is causing them to pick these people as mates.
Actor, the Google engineer, and that NFL player are considered to be the cream of the crop. And as W.E.B. Du Bois coined it, they are the talented 10th. Together, these guys economically possess so much financial power, uplift and create jobs, and more importantly, generational wealth for a good amount of the African American community that is already in financial turmoil. And here's the
His wife looks like she's not. His wife looked like she's mixed. His wife looks Creole. Let me. What's his name? Robert Smith's wife. She looks Creole. Robert F. Smith. Hold on for a minute. Yeah, from 1988 to 1914. Yeah, her name is Suzanne McFadden. Yeah, she looks Creole. She don't look white. And this is his ex-wife. It says that they divorced in 2014. Oh, that's a new lady right there. Who's the new lady? I'm confused. Okay, Hope Dorsey. Oh yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, his new wife's name is Hope Dorsey. I think that's the lady right there. Yeah, she's 39 years old. Yeah, so yeah, maybe I was wrong about that one. But she looks Creole. She looked like she's Creole, basically light skin, really light skin black lady who, back in the day, back in the days of slavery, the slave masters would rape black women, and the black women would wind up having mixed babies, and the mixed babies would come out looking like white women, mixed black women, and they're basically called Creole.
thing. It's not on the bunnies. Okay. The responsibility lies in the hands of the black men, the leaders that they say they are, the ones that do the proposing, that do that thing where they get down on their knee and ask for a woman's hand in marriage. Patrick Mahomes had to watch his black father do it. So now he's doing it and is funneling all of his earnings by way of marriage to his wife, Brittany Mahomes.
I think in Patrick Mahomes' case, because his mother is white, just like Steph Curry. Steph Curry's mom is white. Aisha Curry, I believe her mom is white. So in their cases, they're marrying someone who is reflective of their mothers. You understand? Who's reflective of what they were raised around. That's what I just was saying earlier. Excuse me. They were loved, nurtured, cared for, and shown great values from a mom that they went out and got reflective of their mom. You know how some people say he's dating his mother. That's basically what Patrick Mahomes, Steph Curry, Um, I think Tiger Woods, is Tiger Woods black and white? I think Tiger Woods is mixed too. I think Tiger Woods is mixed too. Uh, there's a couple of mixed dudes who, if they chose white women, they probably chose them based off the fact that their moms are white and they're going out to marry mom, who they see, was there for them. Guys, we gotta tell the truth. We gotta stick to what the truth is. And a lot of people I've seen do this video, they're not sticking to what the truth is. What the truth is, and that's why I told you guys I want to show you this video, but I might just go ahead and say it here. A lot of women of African descent, because they were not taught, they have destructive attitudes towards men. They beat men down. They talk negatively about men. They don't have conflict resolution skills. They don't have effective communication skills. They don't have emotional intelligence, a lot of them. So they're reckless in their way of being, but that's not their fault. So it's almost like it's a double-edged sword, because they're like that, but it's not their fault. It's the same. No, excuse me. It's a jagged. How would you say, a jagged edged sword? It's like one side is smooth, the other side is rough, because it's not their fault that they're rough. It's because of their upbringing. But black men see this, and they go through it, and they've seen people go through it, and they see that these white women, on the other hand, they're not like this. They have more empathy. They show more empathy towards them, and they give them things that they haven't received from black women. And that's the reason why they would go that route when they're famous. I just think they feel like they would be taken advantage of if they with a black woman, be able to hold them down, or be there for them in their toughest moments. That's my take on it. Truly, let me let this video. Let me let this video finish up.
In her family as a byproduct. Now, if Patrick were to pass, his wife is legally entitled to his money and all earnings from his estate, which means that this adds more wealth into the white community that the black community desperately needs. Generational wealth is how we close the wealth gap. I could care less about y'all talking about who's hating. I could care less about being focused on who loves who. If a black man genuinely and unbiasedly found love with a white woman, that is his choice. But since I'm not Boo Boo the Fool, I want to make sure the same community that has been screaming for the last few years about black women only chasing a check to get in here and look at this. And as I stated earlier, I'm looking at the bigger picture here. I'm looking at the fish that needs to be fried. Black men are financial windfalls of millions and billions, money that is being fleeced into non-black communities due to proximity, brainwashing, colorism, and wanting to compete with white men. The 1%, the few that we got, the talented 10th of black men are the new NFL, and they are drafting non-black communities, signing them up for the best contracts and bonuses off the backs of our ancestors who fought for them to get their foot in the door in the first place. And I'm gonna go ahead and stop y'all before we get into this live. There is not any black women that are viable options. Please stop the cap. Okay, we all know, I know, plenty of good, eligible black women in real life that if just the right man comes along to settle down and handle business, all will be well. Women in this community, women that I talk to on a daily basis on Instagram, Discord, TikTok, YouTube. And also, before we get into the tit for tat of why can't black men do it, black women do it too. Millions of wealth within the confines of their household and within their communities. So in this situation, the question would be, why do black men not value the women within their own communities enough to marry them in droves and to provide them with provision, protection, and financial security? Another example of this is Charles Barkley, married a white woman and had a daughter. And after he and his wife passes, his daughter will receive a large sum of his $70 million net worth. And if his daughter was to pass prior to her husband, this money would be funneled into the white community by way of her marriage. One of the reasons I wish sports programs at HBCUs were more prevalent is for us as
I don't understand that. That's Dr. Umar's argument too, guys. Dr. Umar's argument is that the black wealth is not being given to the black people, is being given to the white people. And that's what his issue is with this situation as well. He feels as though generational wealth cannot be built in the black community if these black people are dating white people. But again, like I'm explaining to you and then saying to you why this is not happening, it's because, again, these black men feel as though these black women are not mentally ready to be with them. They're not mentally ready to hold a household down. They're not mentally ready to do what it takes to be a housewife. A lot of women want to be housewives and have the slightest idea what a housewife does. Have the slightest idea. So you want to be a housewife. What does a housewife do? Or what does it mean to have to be a housewife? Right? A housewife is a job. When you present a job to people who are lazy and don't want to do work, they will come to a point where they hate their job. Now, if these people were not raised, again, to be great parents, to be facilitators in the house, they're not going to be that in the house. They're going to suck at their job. And people are going to want to fire them for not being good workers. That's basically what we're talking about here. So a lot of black women were not taught how to be a housewife, how to hold down a household, how to create a budget, how to create a shopping list, how to create a great plan for the children during their school, how to prep healthy breakfasts, how to talk to their children at bedtime, how to make their children show empathy to others, how to make their children respectful, show respect to their husbands, allow their husbands to somewhat be what he wants to be in the household without assuming he's trying to be something else. All of this is learned behavior. This doesn't mean they're better than us, we're better than them. This is what's being taught and what's not being taught. That's what we're looking at here.
Community to be witness proximity. And I know it's a lot of complaints about HBCUs being underfunded and overcharging for tuition expenses while offering the least. But these schools are so underfunded and lacking donations that most of the time they cannot compete with the packages that these players are receiving when they go to these PWIs. Imagine if all of the top high school prospects only decided to go to HBCUs. Where do you think that the ESPN cameras would be set up? Where do you think these sponsors, grants, and limelight? But instead, the majority of these players end up in places like Notre Dame, Penn State, UGA, Alabama.
I mean, to answer her question on that behalf, a lot of those HSBCUs, they're not schools that the NFL draft pays attention to pick potential players. A lot of these players are picked because of the school they go to, because that school has a famous backing for having good players. So the NFL is more likely to go to those schools first and not go to the HSBCUs because they might not be known to have good players. That doesn't mean good players are not there.
Colorado. If a top prospect went to an HBCU, there would be a much higher chance of him meeting a black woman on campus, like many of these other players are already doing.
I believe even if that was the case, right? Even if it was the case where one of these prospects was to end up at an all-black college, he would still date a white woman when he became famous. Still. Because these black women go to these all-black colleges, it still has nothing to do with their upbringing. This is initially what this conversation is about, guys. It's the upbringing. It's the upbringing. It's about nurture. If you were nurtured to be a backstabber, if you was nurtured to be a criminal, if you was nurtured to be, to not be a housewife, if you was nurtured to be a bad mom, if you was nurtured to be a bad dad, this all has to do with nurture, along with nature. The negative influences are from society, the negative influences from the people who are not raising you correctly. A lot of Black people have that as their nurturing and nature process. And because of that, a lot of Black people don't know how to be successful partners in a household. That's a fact. People might not like that, but that's a fact. It has to do with how you were raised. It's got to do with how you were raised. McDonald's, if McDonald's qualification, right, was for you to be a 3-year experienced cook before they hired you, they're not going to hire you unless you're a 3-year experienced cook. So you have to be taught how to cook to work at McDonald's. So you think you're going to walk through the door and get the job as a cook if that was McDonald's qualifications? No, you're not getting the job. The people who were taught this and went to school for this and who are educated for this, who are dedicated to this, who would do this job without no complaints, who would do this job to build and to grow, not trying to sleep with everybody on the job, not trying to get with other players, not arguing with the customers. We love to see you smile and they angry all the time. This is the attitude that would get you removed from the job. But when you're taught how to be a decent individual, when you're taught how to be a great person, when you're taught how to treat people with humanity, you're more likely to succeed in relationships.
Give you an example as to what I mean by proximity. Many players are starting from communities within the red line, and then they're leaving and going to PWIs in predominantly white areas. Mm-hmm. Mr. Antonio Tavares Brown, aka AB, aka Mr. CTESPN, is a well-known bunny bandit. Okay, he was born in Miami, Florida, and went to Miami Norland High School in Miami Gardens. The high school he has a population of 95%.
Called that man a bunny bandit. Ah! Oh no, she called him a bunny. Yo, she called him a bunny bandit. Wow.
And Black people, 4% Hispanic, and 1% non-white. He went to a college and played at Central Michigan University, which was 5% Black. This is proximity. And the irony of all of this is that the Black dads who shuffled these guys around with 3 or 4 of their friends to get them all to football practice, that Black PE teacher in his high school, his Black mother, his Black father, his sister, auntie, and cousins, that elderly neighbor that had a special affinity for him, the Pop Warner, his black pastor, they were the ones that were shooting in the gym. Nick Saban might have recruited him, but he didn't create who he became for 18 years in order to get him to that point. Now, ladies, don't get it twisted, okay? Do not get it twisted. We are not begging for a Black man who essentially wants to be and build with a white woman. Okay, the whole point of many of my videos surrounding people in general is that they are going to do what they want to do. Nothing that we can do about it. The only thing that we have control over is ourselves. Okay, we're not thirsty and down bad begging for Black men to look our way. Now, if he wants to leave his $million and billion-dollar pockets on our tables before he frolics to the bunnies in suburbia, great. We'll take some of that soft life, some of that leisure, and some paid bills. But we're not stressing about why they do not want Black women, why they are not with Black women, why they're choosing to marry white women. Let them do them. Okay, they want to do regardless, and focus on pouring into yourself in the meantime for the right man, whoever that might be, who is worthy of you and who will
focus on pouring into yourself for the right man. Again, no, No. What a lot of people need to focus on is their psychological well-being. The problem here, again, as I mentioned, is the psychological well-being of a lot of people. That's what it is. See, the problem is this, right? As you looked at all of these pictures she started to present to you at the end of the video, don't show up as a nice looking person and be a pain in the ass. And that's how a lot of women of African descent are. A lot of black women are. I'm going to present myself and give you a lot of attitude to go with that. And a lot of white women are said to be, I'm going to show up decent and give you a lot of humanity. And some people may try to give me slack for that without understanding what I initially been saying here the whole entire video. This has to do with nature and nurture. If you were not taught how to be a decent person to people, you're going to be a pain in their ass. And a lot of these black men who would potentially date you will not date you if the promotion is that all black women are reckless and ratchet. And then along with the promotion, a lot of black women are actually ratchet and reckless. Again, as I mentioned, it's not a double-edged sword, but it's like a one jagged sword, however you say, because the roughness comes from the fact that they were not taught right. I'm not going to take this. I'm not going to take that from a man. I'm not doing this for a man. I'm not doing that. I'm not being submissive. I'm not giving a man I'm not giving a man any respect if he doesn't respect me. All of this has to do with improper parenting and raising you improperly. Now, some people might say, "Don't talk about my mother like that. Don't talk about my father like that. Don't talk about my upbringing like that." But that's the truth. That's the truth. When are we going to face the facts that a lot of black people grow up in a household where they're not taught how to properly be inside another household? That's called generational curses. So the general curse has to be broken. There's so much more to this conversation. Again, you may have been lost or angered by what I said, but I got to keep it real with y'all. That's what I'm here to do. Keep it real with you. When I talk about relationships, I always try to keep it real or keep it a buck. But what do y'all think? Go crazy in the comments. Give me your opinion. Whatever you have to say about what I have to say. Whatever you have to say about what she said in the video. Whatever you have to say about what you saw during that NBA draft video. Leave it in the comments, guys, because this is a conversation that's going to go on until the end of time. Unless someone truthfully comes out and says some of the stuff that I'm saying to help someone see the light and say, let me do better and not attack so that my children don't grow up and be attackers. Guys, I will catch you guys.
Eventually come along. Until next time.
I wanted to let her finish. Until next time, guys, I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.